Hello, Scrappy Peeps. Suzanna here today for the Scraproom to share with you this fall college visit layout created using the One Fall Day collection from Bella Blvd. So if you subscribe to Flavors of the Month, you're going to get 3 sheets of pattern paper, 2 sheets of cardstock, those embellishments, a selection, and then I also have the pattern paper add-ons. Those are the add-ons as well as the embellishment add-ons, which was that full sticker sheet. So really, really good value for money. So I am going to be breaking out of the box here. So a grid-based layout, which really I don't break out of the box that much. I'm going to shuffle papers around, trying to figure out what colors I want to use. What I'm really looking for now is what I'm going to cut with that die cut. So this die is a Tim Holtz die. I believe it's definitely Sizzix. And so it has lots of little lines that you can tuck things into. And it's a perfect 3x4 size. And then I'm also looking for the pattern papers that I'm going to use down the bottom as pennants, or banners that are just going to have some fun fall embellishments. The idea is that I want to cut some fall leaves, again from these really cool B-sides, and then tuck them into the pocket at the top in the middle there. So we were in Boston visiting. The intent was we had scheduled visits to go to Northeastern and Boston College. And you can't go to Boston and not walk across the bridge, right, and end up in Cambridge. And of course, we ended up at MIT and we wandered the campus. And she actually really fell in love with MIT, but she's not an MIT kind of gal. She liked it and at the time thought that she was going to apply. But now that we are actually at the application stage, she realized that that's not her cup of tea. The campus is absolutely gorgeous, though, especially during the fall. This sculpture was pretty cool with all of the fall leaves around it. So that's what this layout is about. So I have my selection of embellishments, and I am going to use that red to sort of punctuate the color. It's a nice contrast to the busy floral paper that I have in the middle there, as well as the busyness that I'm then going to also create. To me, fall it's my favorite season, but it also, with all of the leaves, it's a bit busy. It's chaos, right? And so I wanted to put the leaves scattered all around the page to give you that idea of that busyness. And again, I'm using the red because it's a nice contrast. It really pops. It grounds the layout in the busyness as well as provides a dark and a light contrast. It is the dark that is the contrast to all of that busyness that softens the ivory that I am using as the background, as well as the cardstock that I will use for that center piece there. So I am going to breeze through some of the fussy cutting as well as some of the die cutting because I do an awful lot of die cutting. These leaves are not part of the kit, obviously. They are from my stash, and those are old lawn fawn, both the big and the little leaves. The die, I will link you in the description box down below, but I'm pretty sure that it is a Tim Holtz die. And the other die that I'm going to use for the other leaves is my favorite. It is from Spellbinders, and I will link you to that in the description box down below as well. So cutting out a bunch of leaves and also trying to get in the leaves that are in the pattern paper as well as my die cuts. I am going to, there's a lot of off-white border around them, and so I'm going to trim that out just a little bit. So breezing through some of that, but also an awful lot of die cutting, as you can see in this in this layout. There are lots of busy patterns, but I really wanted more leaves. And so I took the advantage of having the really cool B-sides to be able to get more color into that top middle pocket there. And it's not really a pocket. It's kind of like a pocket page without having pockets. So that is the Spellbinders die and just some brown cardstock. That is also from my stash just because, again, it needed some of that darker contrast for the top of the acorns there. I had cut the acorn and I really wanted the little top, which I'd left off. And so I cut it a second time in order to be able to piece it together to get that acorn to go together nicely. So off camera, I am going to do two things. The bottom part of that, I'm calling it a pocket, but where you've got, you can nestle all of the things. It ends up looking a little bit plain and it needs a little bit more color. So I am going to use the label that comes with that die and I'm going to cut that with an orange plaid. Also off camera, I wanted somewhere to journal and I didn't want to journal under that pink spot is going to say MIT, and I didn't want to journal in that or actually in the tag because it was actually hard to read. So I actually die cut a small tag out of the ivory and found a matching blue that matches, you'll see the blue polka dot that goes in the tag on the banner underneath the tag that's going to get tucked into where all of those leaves are. And that is actually removable. The leaves are not, but the tag is, and that is where the journaling on the front and the back of the tag is going to go for that pocket. So some really cool, I love when we get these full sheets in the embellishments in the kit. And so I'm using some of these edges scalloped edges in order to just add a little bit more color and also kind of ground these banners as they tie into the top of the layout there. And what's cool is they're different size scallops, but that line goes all the way across all three of the banners and connects them. So this is a longer than normal process video for me. Again, because of all the die cutting and kind of trying to meld the colors and get a nice flow of color in those leaves, it took a lot longer, even though it really truly is a fairly simple grid layout. The other thing that took a really long time was part of the embellishments that you get is a row of epoxy shapes, and that's going to vary depending on the kit. And that's what's so cool about the kit is I got these little triangles, and they weren't as easy to put down as I was hoping they were going to be. And so I do skim through that part of that. So I've got all the pieces, I've got the foundations. It's just a matter of arranging them in a pleasing configuration. No visual triangle here whatsoever because there are leaves everywhere. There are only 2 acorns, but they do sort of guide your eye through that top right down to the title there, where it also somewhat passes through the pocket that I'm arranging here that will end up having the tag with the journaling in it. So all of these leaves are actually going to be anchored. They will be, I have adhesive behind them, and so they are glued into the pocket. The only thing that is going to be removable is the tag. That green leaf I will move in order to disperse the color because of the tag that I am going to put there. Some of the elements, you know me, I definitely like to have them raised. It just adds a little bit of texture and dimension to the page. So this is a heart with a leaf on it that's ivory and looks perfect in the center there, but you'll see you have this really, really light contrast slap bang in the center of the page. And so the orange plaid that you'll see that I cut the label out of is just perfect there for just adding that splash of color and tying the whole thing together so that it doesn't have it. I like white space. Those of you who know me know I love white space, but it's like a gaping hole in the middle of the layout. See, you can kind of see it already right there. And so the thing that I do off camera will perfectly fill that there. So just a little cluster of leaves here. When I'm applying adhesive to things with fine detail, I really like to use liquid adhesive with the fine tip nozzle there, and I just have a dress pin from a dress shirt that just closes that off. And again, for consistency, I'm also going to pop this acorn up here. So something else that I could have done if I wanted to, something to add a little bit more oomph, a little bit more of an organic feel to this, is I could have inked the edges of the leaves. I also could have added what I call our thread balls. I haven't done thread balls in quite some time because I just it kicks it up a notch and adds another layer, but I actually really like my layouts to be with a little bit more emphasis on the photos and the stories than what this one actually ends up being. I was having fun creating here. So I'm going to fussy cut this acorn because I want to incorporate another acorn. So in a way, maybe I do have a visual triangle because you have this third acorn. It's just different than the others. If you follow my work, you know that a lot of my clusters are not the same. I will have 3 clusters. I will have the visual triangle, but I tend to make them different. I am actually going to move that acorn over to the other side. You'll see that in the close-ups when I put it on that orange plaid label that I keep referencing. The other thing that I'm going to do, where you see that maroon red tag right there with the two leaves, I am going to fussy cut one of the trees and put that there because I have the fallen leaves trees, or the fall leaves trees in both of the photos, and so I just thought that that fussy cut tree from the pattern paper tied that together really nicely. So we are on the MIT campus, and I want to reference that. So I am putting MIT using the letters that come with the embellishment add-on sticker sheet, and that will just sit nicely there. I thought I was going to journal underneath it and or on the tag, but as I mentioned earlier, that is not going to happen. So just some fun, lots of fun choices for embellishments here that really, really add to this. Because I've got the leaves on the right hand side, I'm using that green corner on the left hand side. They're different, but it balances the layout out a little bit. So this is where I'm going to start fighting with these things. It literally takes me like 5 minutes to get these adhered to the page, and I will spare you the agony of having to watch that. So this is a layout for the scrap room. It is a kit club, but there are one-offs available, and you can subscribe and or get one-offs if they are available to you. Obviously, you will get a discount if you subscribe. So the close-ups are to follow. Enjoy the close-ups. I hope you've enjoyed this process video. Thanks for stopping in today. Come back again soon. Take care.